Good morning, first grade foxes. So today we're going to be doing one of my favorite read alouds. And the title of this read aloud is Declaring Independence. And here are some words that I want you to listen for today. Commander-in-Chief, Continental Army, Declaration of Independence, and 4th of July. And this is what you're listening for today. I want you to listen carefully to find out how the colonists tried to solve the problems caused by the shot heard round the world. News of the shot heard round the world spread throughout the colonies. Once again, the colonists sent representatives to a meeting in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to discuss what had happened and to decide what to do. Now, what is a representative? And each colony sent someone to represent them at the meeting. The representatives at the Second Continental Congress were divided in their feelings about breaking away from Britain and becoming a completely independent nation. Now, the word independent means not controlled by others. If the colonists became independent from Great Britain, they could decide things on their own. But several more small battles in the Massachusetts colony convinced them that they needed an army and someone to serve as a commander. General George Washington seemed to be the perfect choice to lead the army. He had fought to protect the colonies before, and he knew how the British fought. Dressed in his military uniform at the Continental Congress, he was respected by everyone and was easily elected as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. George Washington would be in charge of the army created by the Continental Congress. Washington set off to join troops from across the colonies in Massachusetts, ready to meet the British in battle. Meanwhile, the Continental Congress continued to meet in Philadelphia. Among the representatives was a man named Benjamin Franklin. Franklin, who was born in the colony of Massachusetts and then lived in the colony of Pennsylvania, had actually moved to London, England for a few years. He had gone there to speak out in Parliament against the unfair taxing of the American colonies and the fact that the Americans had no say in Parliament. Americans had no official representatives to speak out for them in Parliament, but Franklin went and spoke as their representative. Benjamin Franklin was very good at arguing, and he was able to get the British to remove some of their taxes on the colonies. Benjamin Franklin had many British friends in London, but after the Boston Tea Party, an angry British Parliament began to distrust and dislike him. Now, why do you think the British Parliament started to dislike Franklin? And so, in 1775, Franklin decided that it was time to return home, arriving in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just in time for the second meeting of the Continental Congress. The other representatives were delighted to have someone there who had spent so much time on the other side of the ocean. He could help them decide what to do. The Continental Congress decided it was time to announce to Parliament and to the British King that the colonies no longer wanted to be a part of Great Britain. They wanted to declare themselves a free and independent nation. An official declaration would have to be written so that Parliament and the King would take them seriously. Who would write this important Declaration of Independence, or the statement to declare the colonists free? The members of the Continental Congress considered different people. Among those mentioned for the job was Thomas Jefferson, a 32-year-old representative from Virginia and one of the youngest men there. Jefferson had not been able to attend the First Continental Congress, but the representatives were all familiar with his powerful writing. Jefferson was elected to be its author. So what would Jefferson do if he was going to be the author of the Declaration of Independence? Thomas went back to the rooms he was renting in Philadelphia, got out some paper, and scratched his head. He dipped his pen in ink and started writing. Now, pens in those days did not hold the ink. The pen had to be dipped into the bottle of ink. Sometimes he stopped and crossed out some words, then went on. He knew a lot of important people were going to read this, so he had to make it good. Every morning for 17 days, he got up at dawn and got to work, writing and rewriting to make sure it was his best work. The Continental Congress liked Thomas Jefferson's work. Benjamin Franklin, among others, changed a word or two here and there, but most of his words remained those of young Jefferson. I don't know why I did that. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was approved by a vote of the Continental Congress. It was sent to a printing shop that very night. Writers headed out across the countryside with copies. In town squares all over the colonies, people gathered to hear Thomas Jefferson's words read aloud. One part is still read again and again today. Now, I want you to listen to a part of our Declaration of Independence, and then I'm going to explain to you what it means. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those words mean that nobody is born any better than anyone else, and that all people all over the world have equal rights, such as the right to live, the right to liberty, which means freedom, and the right to be happy. We still celebrate this important event every 4th of July, and you could call it the birthday of the United States. Now, the 4th of July is a national holiday to celebrate the Declaration of Independence and declaring freedom from Great Britain. Now here's a video that you can watch. It's another Schoolhouse Rock video like the one that I shared with you when we did the shot heard around the world. And this one is all about the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So I have the link at the top. You can either type that in or you can go to YouTube and search for the Declaration by Schoolhouse Rock. Now here are my questions that I have for you today. And remember, if it's a question that you can answer in a complete sentence, to be sure to do so and to try to restate the question. And remember, you can answer these questions orally, or you can get in some extra writing practice and write your answers down. So here's your first question. Who was the representative who went to Great Britain, was very good at arguing, and got the British to remove some of the taxes they had put on the colonies? Question 2. How did the colonists try to solve the problem caused by the shot heard round the world? Question 3. What important decisions were made at the Second Continental Congress? Question 4. Who was chosen to write the Declaration of Independence, and why do you think that person was chosen to be the author? Question 5. How do you think the colonists felt when they first heard the Declaration of Independence? Question 6. What do you think of when you hear these words from the Declaration of Independence? We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. And question 7. What do we celebrate each 4th of July? Now, our word of the day today is independent. And in the read aloud you heard, the representatives to the Second Continental Congress were divided in their feelings about breaking away from Britain and becoming a completely independent nation. Say the word independent with me. Independent. Independent means not controlled by others. So here are some examples. Canada, the United States of America, and Mexico are 3 independent nations on the continent of North America. Now, the word independent can also be used to describe a person. An independent person is able to take care of themselves. Now, who would you describe as an independent person? Try to use the word independent when you tell about him or her. So you're going to say blank, the name of the person, is an independent person because, and remember, anytime that we hear the word because, we're giving a reason. So give a reason why you think that person is independent. Now, we have talked some about synonyms and antonyms. And remember, an antonym is a word that means the opposite. So the opposite or antonym of independent is dependent. An independent person does for himself what a dependent person relies on someone else to do for them. Now, I'm going to name a task, and if it's something that you can do by yourself, say, I am independent when I do that. If it describes something that you rely on someone else to help you do, say, I am dependent on someone to help me do that. So the first task is tying your shoes. The second task is washing your clothes. The third task is fixing your own breakfast. The fourth task is reading a book. And the fifth task is getting dressed. Now on Brain Pop Junior, there is a video. If you click on reading and writing and then click word, and then you'll click on synonyms and antonyms. This is a video that might be a good refresher for you guys to remind you what synonyms and antonyms are. Now here are your writing activities for today. I did not include the writing activity from the packet, but that can be an option 3 for you guys. So I'll go ahead and tell you in the packet, it says, how did the colonists try to solve the problems caused by the shot heard around the world? So you can use that as a writing task if you want to, but here are your other 2 options. The first option that I put here is all about the 4th of July. And I want you to think about how you and your family celebrate the 4th of July. So for your plan, I've divided it into 4 parts or in fourths. And I want you to draw pictures of 4 things that you all do to celebrate the 4th of July. And then below, you're going to write for your draft, you're going to write about these 4 things that you all do to celebrate the 4th of July. And maybe for your closing sentence, explain why the 4th of July is important and why we celebrate it. Your second option is I want you guys to pretend that you were there when the Declaration of Independence was approved by the Continental Congress. Now, I have drawn an eye in this plan because I want you to pretend that it's your eye. And if you were there, what would you have seen through your eyes? What would it have looked like? So for your plan, I want you to draw an eye. And right in here in this white part right here in this circle, I want you to draw what it would have looked like. What would you have seen? So draw that here in your eye. I want you to come up with your own title, and you're going to talk about when you were there. When you were there when the Declaration of Independence was approved by the Continental Congress, what would it have looked like? And that's what you're going to write about in your for your draft. Now, this is your writing activity for tomorrow, for Thursday, April 30th. And don't forget that on Friday, I'm going to be sharing a culminating activity with you all to do. So make sure you check Class Dojo on Friday also for my 3rd video this week. I hope you guys are having a great week. I'm loving getting all the pictures and seeing all of your hard work. I'm so proud of you guys. And I guess the next time I'll see you will be at our Zoom call on Thursday. So stay tuned. We're going to do something fun this Thursday on Zoom. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.